So did you guys see all the controversy that JP was talking about DeMart?
Yeah.
Because I went back to kind of to
Where was it?
so DeMart is doing.
Aren't we supposed to be talking about this on the show?
Yeah. That's how we're gonna start.
Okay.
So
are we starting?
Just start with that. So I went to go watch what that was all about. So DeMart started doing like a preview show and like a recap show kind of thing with some guy. But I don't know if it was DeMart that was saying he doesn't have a gas tank. It was the other guy. Or am I...
So I haven't listened to it, but my understanding is that DeMart didn't say JP was going to lose. I'd have to listen to it, so I'm led to correction here. But my understanding is that DeMart implied that if JP doesn't submit this guy in the first round or two, that he'll get head kick knocked out in round 4 or something like that. Because he's got no gas or he doesn't have... So
I'm
not 100% sure.
So DeMart was kind of insinuating that JP doesn't have a knockout ability and he doesn't have the ability to grind him out for 5 rounds. That's what he was saying. So he was saying the only way he could win was like a first round submission. And then the other guy was kind of saying he doesn't have a gas tank and he thinks Biko is going to beat him. He's going to get tired. He says Biko is going to survive the first 2 rounds and then get caught with the spinning back kick. I'm like, Jesus, bro. He's going to get... whoa. Okay. Like, look, I understand why JP was upset. Obviously, DeMart is a former teammate and that sort of thing. But I don't think DeMart was the one really saying he doesn't have a gas tank. He was kind of insinuating by saying he needs to get it done in the first by a submission. That's the only way he can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the best way. I think JP handled that's the best way to shut up your critics. Is just be like, well, fuck, what now? What? I just TK'd him in the 4th and I'm still fresh. So now what are you saying? You know what I mean?
Also, I mean, if you're serving a suspension for taking performance-enhancing drugs.
Hey, bro, tainted supplements. Excuse me, sir.
50,000 times the daily recommended usage.
I see that guy at Biogen. I really loved him, man.
So, Cat's going to make an appearance on the show.
You can only see his head.
Yeah. Stitch, what's happening? Yeah, listen, I think if you're serving a cool, you just lie there, buddy. I think if you're serving a 4-year suspension and you want to talk about guys' gas tanks, it's a bit harsh.
Yeah, right? You can talk about everything, but don't talk about someone's performance ability.
No, 100%, man. Like, I don't know. I thought it was a bit strange. Like, I know I've been told many times to stay in my lane. I suppose it's one of those scenarios.
Yeah.
You know, but it is what it is. But yeah, luckily for DeMart, Max Merton came along and just fixed that straight up.
He blew that straight out the water. Eh? Anything that ended with a stroll or a strun, it was like in his system.
Wait, DeMart busted for 50,000 times a month? 50,000 times a month? Hold my drink.
Yeah, cool. Hold my beer, bro.
Hold this turn off.
But listen, like on a serious note, like if you're a fighter, bro, okay, and you 100% are failing the sniff test without a doubt, what is going through your mind? I'm like, it's cool, bro. Just, I know you said only 1 steroid, but I'm going to need another 15, and let's just max that dosage up, and I'm going to go fight. Nobody's going to test me. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, what did you think was going to happen, bro?
If you go past the trademark Simon Stevens sniff test?
Jeff Nowitzki just followed Max Merton. I mean, fuck. It's crazy. Like how many oaks just getting busted for steroids left, right, and centre at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Joe Rogan and Herb Dean had a podcast recently, and they were talking about UFC testing versus most of the other sports, and then they touched on NFL.
Yeah.
So it got me like thinking. I went and I researched the NFL a little bit to see like how their doping test, because you know. American football.
There's a bit of a weird noise happening. Yeah, carry on.
The American football is primarily athleticism. You know, everyone's got a very small role to play in a big game, and when they do those combines, it's just 100% like athletic testing. So that fosters like 100 meters, highest vertical jump, so forth. So I went and I checked the actual testing on NFL versus MMA, and you know, in the NFL. They get, on average, over the last 5 years, 43 failed tests, right? With the average suspension being 3 to 4 games. If you fail one test, you're out for like 2 years.
The doping test.
The doping test.
Okay, but there's a couple of things you got to consider there. How big is the testing pool compared to MMA?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the actual suspension thing.
Yeah, okay.
If you
2-3 games, different story.
You got a 16 game season, and you're getting banned for 1 to 6 games
Yeah.
for getting caught with like the most explicit performance enhancing drugs ever. So I mean, the NFL is kind of turning a blind eye to this because there's so many guys on a team. One guy gets popped for steroids.
Well,
okay, put it on the back burner for 4 games.
You don't have to look that far. Look at rugby players. How do you think those oaks first get that size and stay that size?
100%.
I know everyone's
Whey
like
protein
saying,
and
yo,
chicken breast.
whey protein and they baked beans and steak, bro. Like I get it.
Test the forte.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing is with MMA is like what everyone always goes back to is the consequences of what's happening. If I'm running with a ball and you tackle me, so be it. If I'm head kicking you in the fucking dome repeatedly on steroids, that's a bit of a different scenario. You understand what I'm saying? So like, it has to be more stringent. Like, we can certainly debate about NFL versus MMA for hours, but I think like we should be looking at mainstream sports like NFL for certain things, and then they should probably be looking back at MMA for certain things. Because, sport is getting to that weird stage, and especially MMA. And I think especially the UFC, where they're going to kind of have to like, do we carry on with this USADA style testing and just clean the fuck out of the sport and go all the way back? And who knows? Maybe we're going to be looking at some of the all-time greatest fights that made MMA. The guys were on EPO and stuff. If that's how far back we can go,
Yeah.
Where does it stop? You understand what I'm saying? And what is the limit? Or do we just kind of say, okay, look, this is the protocols you are allowed. This is the limits, and fuck, juice yourself to the teeth, bro.
So
within that limit.
So
I don't
like
know.
two things on that. One, I think the rate of CT in NFL and rugby is at a ridiculous rate as well. So I think all these contact sports, NFL, rugby, MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing, whatever you want to do, I think all of them should have similar suspension lines. NFL, you're putting on body armor and then you're going and fucking destroying oaks in tackles and stuff. They use that as part of like the actual entry, is that they'll hit you with the actual body armor, right? So I think NFL at a bare minimum should get a very similar suspension, but for the NFL to turn a blind eye and give these guys anything from 1 game to 6 games, and there's very few guys that get anything past 6 games. They're sitting on the bench for a couple of weeks and they're coming back on. Most of those guys don't even have the steroids out of their system when they jump back onto the field. So I think that's number one. Number two is I think the UFC and MMA in general should continue with their program and clean out the sport in general. We just saw 4 people now last week getting retrospective suspensions because they found SARMs in their supplements. I mean, how likely is it that 2 teammates...
Excuse me, sir, with those Biogen supplements.
How likely is it that 2 teammates taking different supplements got caught for the same steroid? Or the same... Well, SARMs isn't actually a steroid, but it's still an illegal substance, still performance-enhancing drugs. So yeah, I think they should just keep going until it becomes a non-issue, and then keep it at some sort of baseline maintenance level. I saw Jeff Nowitzki posted that thing the other day about if you thought so many people were caught now, wait until the future. Thank you, Johnny Bones Jones. Like
Is that from his main account or his parody account?
I don't know.
Now that's a good question.
That is a very good question.
I'll tell you now.
Yeah. So the golden snitch and the new snitch. Yeah, look, dude, I don't know how that can work, where like a guy like John Jones is giving them inside information to who's doping and who's not. I mean, who is he? Is he the fucking doping agent of the world? Or
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds a bit weird.
You might find that because there's an anomaly of this pulsing effect in his body, that it's giving them a better understanding of how to test for...
Also known as microdosing.
100%. Could be that. But I think in general, it's just this... Nate Diaz said like everyone's on steroids. It's playing very close to the truth,
Sure.
You talk about some of the greatest going down as having popped. I mean, you've already got TJ, who was one of the
future Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And he was arguably the greatest bantamweight of all time, right? You got Anderson Silva, who popped for steroids, who was regarded as the GOAT until he had the losing streak, So I mean, these things aren't rare. It's Brock Lesnar came in. He was dead. He was also caught for juicing, and he was a heavyweight champion who defended his title. It's like never ending. There's people doing it left, right, and center. It's just you have to keep doing it until it's not an issue anymore. You know.
So what you're saying is that Max Merton maybe just took some Titan supplements and he should be forgiven.
He was wearing a fantastic Biogen sponsor on his pants.
Did you find what that?
Was
tweet?
it parody or normal?
Sorry?
Did
I'm
you
trying to find it. It's not on his page.
Jeff Nowitzki. It was probably a parody then.
Well, the tricky thing is that his parody account and his actual account
The
have
same
the
name.
exact same profile picture
But
and name.
are they
So,
both
like,
verified? Because the one that they took the screenshot of was verified.
Is it? Then it's his
Yeah.
actual page.
Yeah, I don't think
The
a
other
parody
one's
can be
not.
verified.
Yeah, I don't know if you get enough of a following. I
Yeah,
suppose.
maybe.
Okay, maybe
Anyways.
maybe we won't talk about all these PEDs. And
I just say just fucking either it's all or nothing. That's the way it's got to be. And I think
Yeah.
like, you know what, the funny thing is like, you know, EFC sort that out. They went and got Sage, which is sanctioned under water, so the guys are getting tested. I don't think they're getting tested as stringently as they are in the UFC, but they're definitely getting
nowhere
tested.
close.
Yeah, so
Nowhere
Did you
close.
see
But it's
that
still
tweet
happening.
on Twitter or on Facebook?
the tweet on Facebook.
I saw-
Ask yourself
I
that
saw-
question again, boy.
I saw Don post a screenshot of it on Instagram.
It was probably
In his
like
stories,
a,
that's not
no,
bad.
it was probably a made up
Yeah. Anyways,
cut. It's nowhere on his Twitters.
on the Twitter sphere. Anyway, EFC 78. Generally, what were your thoughts?
I actually thought it was a pretty good card in the end, on the undercard, I thought we had a lot of great action. Sanchez's overhand knockout, I thought was phenomenal. Bustin Bumbo's hook to
Yeah, it was a left hook, I think.
yeah, with left hook and then
Caught HP
caught
from the
HP
start.
with those hammer fists. Then the Zach Badat coming out and just being super dominant, catching the very first kick that was thrown, and then just elbows for days.
The cool thing about Zach, Mr. Badat there, was it's been quite a while since we had a guy arrive in the prelims with a hype about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I remember
100%.
like Taylor Kennedy, maybe one or two other guys like recently that they obviously ventured off, but they came in with this hype, and it's been so long. You know, like often guys just appear on the prelims, and you're like, well, who the fuck is this hook? You know what I mean?
No,
Got no
agreed.
record or whatever. And Zakir Badat was one of the guys. And like people like hitting me up, they're like, yeah, keep your eyes on Zach. And I mean, I know you guys spoke about him, and a lot of people had this, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
And he made good on his debut, which is rad. But that dude just looks like an absolute savage. And it was quite funny. I saw someone. I think someone tweeted on the or on the Instagram picture a comment and was like something about PEDs and something.
Yeah.
And I think Clint Walters actually commented saying no, he's actually a gymnast. So look,
Well, if you saw Zach when he was 17, Zach
Yeah.
hasn't grown much since he was 17. You know, so unless you're taking steroids at a very young age.
15 maybe 12.
But the crazy thing about Zach is everyone saw his top game.
Yeah.
He caught the leg quickly, transitioned to side control, and then got the crucifix, and then just murdered him from there. But he can play a bottom game as a light heavyweight. He can play a bottom game like a lightweight or a featherweight can play. You know, he's got a very dynamic attacking bottom game as well. So he's quite a problem in the sense that no matter what position you're in on the ground, he's quite dangerous from both those positions. I haven't seen much of his striking, but I mean, you're not going to be a really shit striker if you're training under Clint. You know,
Yeah.
Clint's very heavily focused on
also,
Muay Thai
bro,
boxing.
in that light heavyweight division, is there anyone that can match him on the ground?
No, it was
You know
also
what I
nice to see a very athletic light heavyweight as
Yeah.
well. You know, sometimes these guys aren't. They're like a little bit of a fat middleweight or a, you know, super heavyweight over there.
Hey, bro, I could cut you heavyweight.
Yeah, so that was awesome. And then the last highlight of the undercard was obviously Wade Crispe, who looked rejuvenated.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's had a little change in camp, I think. Eh?
yeah, he's with
He's Matt Leishing.
Fit.
Yeah.
But he caught him with, I think he threw a hook and then a straight right, and that kind of rocked Josimar, and then they hit the ground, and he looked so calm and collective, hit that armbar quickly. It was good. I think Josimar still feeling that armbar. That thing was so hyperextended. But Joe, it was I thought that was a great fight. And then the only real low light was the ladies fight, which I like ladies fights.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'll tune in any day to watch
Hashtag no sexist.
to watch someone like Joanna or someone fight, you know. And even the ladies locally, you know, they all, some of them are good at a very specific part of the game, you know, like Daniela Eliasov, she's a great grappler. And then you look at the ladies on TF2, a lot of them came with boxing, and some of them were well-rounded wrestlers with some striking abilities, Manon, savage kickboxer. But those two ladies didn't seem to have a strength anywhere.
Clutching at straws, bro. Let's call it is what it is, with all due respect to those ladies. I'm sure they're going to get better. They've been around the scene for a little while. You know, this is unfortunately what happens. Filling in, it was such a strange thing for me because they put a fight like that on. You know, obviously two ladies with an amateur record, not a massive amateur record.
No, I think there was like 3 fights collectively between them.
Not like causing massive waves anywhere. You know what I mean? Nothing to really say, okay, sign me for a pro. It's just like a clutch at straws. Okay, we need ladies to start growing divisions, put them in, but then you failed to negotiate to fight for Cheyenne Blismus and the Polish lady, which makes no sense because if you wanna highlight female MMA in the EFC organization, you've got to fight a absolute fucking barn burner waiting to be done.
Yeah.
And you're failing on small amounts of money. You know what I mean? Like that's, if anything, rather try and recuperate a bit of money from somewhere else to get that fight going because the fight's already made. You know what I mean? Like it's already done. They've sold the fight. They've done all the hard work.
Yeah.
They've fucking built it up. They've built the hate. They've got this animosity between each other. They got in each other's face. They had a brawl backstage. I mean, what fucking more do you need? And then you're failing on that and then putting a fight like
the
that on.
UFC doesn't really have
like
to do anything for that.
Exactly.
You know?
That
Besides obviously come to the party when it comes to money.
100%. Obviously, the UFC will say, "Oh, we offered more, and you guys don't know the whole story." And cool, I get that. But get the fight fucking done. That's all that has to happen.
Yeah.
Let's meet the middle ground. Let's not just be like, "Well, that's what we're offering. If not, screw you." Because who's losing out there? The fighters are losing out 100%. The organization is losing out 100% because now you've got the division that's going back, and you're looking at a rematch between Vocek and Kiara Penko. Cool, bro. Seen that.
We've seen that, Joe. It's already happened.
Been there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does nothing for me. That fight does nothing for me. If you want to grow the ladies division, there's the opportunity right there. Look, I thought about Zongenhart. Are they looking at Cheyenne Blismus and saying, okay, Cheyenne's going to get the title here and want to move on. We don't want to invest in her. Maybe that's the way they see it, so they don't want to throw too many chips in the pond. I get it. But it'll be so worth it because, you know, if you had to build that fight up, I'd be like, okay, cool, maybe I can understand where you're coming from. The fact that fight, I promise you, that fight just on merit would sell out half of an arena. Understand what I'm saying? Like it's people are so invested in that fight already because they've seen them fight. It was a bit controversial. Some people thought Cheyenne lost. Some people thought she won. There was all this controversy. Then they had that huge face-off at the end of the year, and I was like, oh, this rematch is going to be one of the most epic rematches we've seen. You know what I'm saying? And then you kind of throw these other two ladies who you didn't really need. You know what I mean? Like into a prelim fight. They're a little bit early in their career, or like I don't know, man. Like it's just those kind of things. That they get to me, man. That really got to me. I mean, to see a fight like that and what you could have had in the female division, it kind of throws things out.
Well, the crazy thing is that these ladies. I mean, I wouldn't even relegate them to the opening fights of the card. I just don't think they showed anything that was of a professional level to be on this card, right? Secondly, to a point that you raised just now is about they don't want to invest in Cheyenne because maybe she's going to go to another organization, but surely, as an organization, you want to feed the UFC. You understand that you're not the UFC.
Sure.
So you want to feed the UFC because what happens is it attracts other potential UFC fighters to your organization and fighters who might overlook the pay a little bit in the opportunity of it being a stepping stone to the UFC.
Sure.
So you see organizations like the old RFA and Legacy, which eventually became LFA, right? Ed Soares built RFA to a point where it was just the feeding ground for the UFC. You become a champion RFA, you're pretty much signing for the UFC in your next fight.
Sure.
So I mean, if they got to the point where this was a stepping stone to the UFC, and you're attracting these fighters from all around the world, you're attracting the best talent locally and in your continent, I think that's where they should be trying to get to. But by not investing in Cheyenne, that's obviously your hypothesis.
Yeah, just a theory.
It's not. The EFC haven't said that that's what that they're doing that, but I mean, I would imagine that you'd want to invest in people to actually move on to bigger events. You know, I think if the EFC was a feeding ground for ONE and for UFC, which are the two biggest, I think that would be a great position to be, because you know you can't actually battle them financially.
Yeah.
You don't have the finances that the UFC have or that ONE have. I mean, they got fairly open checkbooks where you run to quite a tight budget. So yeah, I don't know. I think on the entire card, that was the only like negative thing I could really say about that card.
Another thing, like one of the themes for me on that card, I mentioned like Zakir Badat coming in, you know, for a long time, a guy coming into the organization with quite a bit of hype and, you know, obviously a long history in combat sports. The next thing was the development of contenders in divisions, which we hadn't seen. Saxon Delafield stamped his authority, and you know, like I spoke to Saxon before, and it was so cool. It's always cool to hear those side stories. You know, Saxon's in the place where his career started one fight ago, the one fight before this. Everything before that is irrelevant because he was in a different place, different time. He wasn't serious, and now he's like, okay, I want to do this for a living. You know what I mean? He's made that cognitive decision that now it's going to start happening. And he's just moved to Cape Town, man, and Mike, shout out to Mike. They've just, honestly, they've turned that dude around. Like they've got him where he needs to be. I think he is where he needs to be now, you know. And he's really stamped his authority. He's like, look, he's put that division on notice. I'm here, you know what I mean. And that's quite cool to see. And the same thing for Sean DeLange, you know what I mean. Like Sean DeLange, like we never trust that he's going to stick around, you know what I mean. Like, but he seems pretty serious now. So you got a couple of new popular contenders. You know what I mean? Those guys are popular in Cape Town, man. The people go out to see them. So that was another cool thing to see as well.
With Saxon, it was always so difficult to see him in training and to see that no one could even touch him in training. But then he got in there and there was something amiss when he got into the fight, right? So I think he's gone to Mike and them now at PFA, and he hasn't actually changed as a fighter. He's doing the exact same things that he became popular for, you know, when he was in the 1 minute monster situation. But whatever Mike and them have done, they've definitely focused him, you know, like he's training properly, he's training, the volume and intensity of training is correct, he's got the right training partners now. You know, I think that's been the biggest thing, is that it's a little bit of a skill set shift, slight skill set shift, but primarily just he's way more focused, way more dedicated, he's training properly. And yeah, he definitely stamped his authority. I mean, they went rock and sock in there for like 10 seconds or so. I think Roderick threw an uppercut and then Saxon countered with a hook, and then they were like, stuff this. They just went balls to the wall, and then I think Saxon actually dropped Roderick and then hit that arming guillotine. It just shows he's quite dynamic. I mean, I've rolled Saxon, he's a fucking handful. And he's got so much power in his hands that he's quite a dangerous person no matter where the fight's taking place. I just think he's always lost because whenever he's lost, it's been primarily a mental thing and not really a physical thing, you know? Sure. So, yeah. Sean, if he hangs around, it'll be awesome. But once again, I don't know if he'll be in the next couple of EFCs. But Marcel looked the part. I mean, physically, the physical aesthetics, he looked like he had fucking put in some hard work.
Excuse me, sir, you're saying he was on those biotin supplements?
I didn't say that one bit. But, so aesthetically, he looked the part, right? But he definitely faded in that round. So it didn't seem like it,
on that biotin, boy.
It didn't seem like it was functional strength and in metabolic condition. It seemed like he was just fading. Maybe a little bit too much muscle mass for that division. Sean looked fresh. He just carried on with doing his thing, you know. Sean, like, mark my words, if you're ever going to place a bet on a fight in the EFC, never place it against Sean, because you never know what's going to happen.
I don't know, you almost made me lose my house on the Zulu one.
Oh, shit. That's hectic, eh? But you would have won some money on the Zach fight, which no one knew.
True.
But had you guys listened to me and gone with Jake Hadley, like I said, you would have won some money.
Patriotism, yeah.
Bro, listen.
No,
listen,
I'm joking. There's no allegiance to anything in sport.
Nobody wants to see Zulu Boy lose. I think that's a fact. I don't think there's anyone here that really wants to see Zulu Boy lose. The fact of the matter is that if you take a good, hard, long look at Zulu's camp, what is he doing on the ground? What is he realistically doing on the ground? So, how many times do you think Zulu Boy's faced someone like playing a rubber guard on him? Like, how many times has it happened to him in his career? Or in his training? And he's probably never seen it in his life. Yeah, fair.
But he didn't train with Francois. He just
I'm saying that.
He just fucked Francois up.
But I mean, yeah. So like, that's the kind of thing. And I think we all sat and said, Jake Hadley's so confident that he's going to get this done. What does he know that we don't? And obviously in his mind, he figured out that he could go in there quite fearlessly, get it to the ground, use an extensive amount of jiu-jitsu to really throw him off and like stagnate and win out, like get the points in the rounds and win the rounds. He knew it in his mind, you know what I mean? Like we didn't believe that he could do it. But I say to you, like, whenever somebody's that confident in what they're about to do, there's a different brashness in them. There's something different about him in the way he approaches it, and the way he says
There's no
things.
self-doubt in what he's about to do,
You know what I'm saying? So it's a fight that it's obviously been on his mind for a long time. So that was what made me think there's something else to it.
So I haven't actually that's the only fight on the card I haven't seen yet. How was he getting the fight to the ground?
Bro, like, it seemed to be like different scenarios, like a lot of like closing distance in the stand-ups, and like there was no like massive double legs or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, look, he has, you can see he has a good ability of like cage wrestling. He's got a good knowledge, and he's got a good knowledge of distance control, like when he's red and when he's green, in different distances, and when to close those distances. So I think he had mapped that out against Zulu. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm here and I stay here for too long, I'm in trouble. And he frustrated Zulu to the point that Zulu forced to close in the distance, you know what I mean? But it was a lot of like, that like very soft takedowns and stuff like that. But again, like he was conducting it, you know what I mean? Like he was controlling the distance where he wanted it to be. And I don't think Zulu had the answers on where to go. You catching Mr. Stitch there?
You can't see him.
You would imagine that Zulu would never find anyone with better takedown ability than Ego, who's his main training partner,
Yeah.
But I mean, I suppose if you've got an unorthodox person, like everyone sparred someone that's a bit unorthodox, who's nowhere near as good as the guys you normally spar, but because they're unorthodox, you kind of taken back a little bit, and they're kind of landing things that you would never expect such a shit person to land on you, because you do fine against these other guys that are way better. So it might be one of those situations where it's so unorthodox that. But I don't know. I haven't seen the fight, obviously.
Look, dude. Make no mistake. I don't want to say Jake Hadley is a world-class Muay Thai striker, but he's striking. He definitely showed signs. We didn't get to see too much of it, but the biggest thing for me is that he was completely fearless in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was completely fearless of the power of Zulu. I don't think he got to taste all that much of it. I think, if Zulu had worked in a couple of elbows from top positions and stuff, it might have been a different story. But yeah, man, like,
Zulu looked quite a little bit beaten up after the fight. Was that from ground and pound, or was that from
shots, bro, strikes? Yeah, look, he tried a few things, and there was a bit of everything. But to be honest, like, it was, Jake showed like quite a full arsenal. You know what I mean? Which was pretty impressive. And I think that's how he was able to frustrate Zulu Boy. Like, I think there was a lot more to it. I think. And with that being said, the way Zulu reacted to the press conference and that, I think there was a bit of maybe Zulu Boy underestimated a little bit, to be honest. That's my personal opinion.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, he was a little bit complacent. He's probably become a bit complacent in his training, if we're honest. You know what I mean? Doing the same thing over again. Like, when do you ever see Zulu Boy going to other gyms to try and get a bit of grappling in or wrestling in, or what is he doing? Like, obviously he's not a social media actor, so we don't follow him all the time. But like, you know what I mean? Like, what is he doing? You know what I mean? What is he doing out of the normal? What is he doing to progress, to get better every day? Is he seeking out expertise in cage wrestling? Are him and Iga working on wrestling? Or what are they doing? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know.
No, I don't know.
I just don't see it. I don't see it in his fight style. I don't see him evolving. Whatever's worked for him in the past, he's sticking to. Yeah. And I don't think he's showing any new tools. Okay, he submitted Gary Joshua. Let's give him that.
And Gary's definitely not a scrub on the ground.
Like. So, like, obviously he's adding submission to his arsenal and stuff like that, but,
But, another factor to consider is that when you're the champ and you've got this long line of people that want to fight you, well, in Zulu's case, it came to a point where people didn't want to fight him anymore. You've got 3 months to prepare for someone specific, but the people far down that line are all started preparing for you a couple of fights ago, So Jake's been preparing for Zulu for I don't know how long. You said he's been on his radar for years.
Yeah, dude.
So if you're analyzing someone for 2 years and then you go fight them, you're going to be pretty much in sync with what his style is, how he sets up certain combinations, how he sets up his takedowns, how he defends his takedowns, how he sets up his submissions. how he transitions on the ground. So, I mean, that's another factor, is that maybe Zulu just didn't have enough time to adequately prepare for this. Or
Do you think his team are the kind of team that stopped and went to go like check on tape, or they were just like, fuck it, you Zulu boy, you go out and do your thing? That's honestly, that's the way I see it, man. Like I just don't like the things I've seen them do and heard from about their team. I just don't think they're the kind of team that does stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't think that they're evolving.
Who's in his team?
Walter.
But who's the fight team? So when I fought TC Kusu, I saw Walter and Zulu was in his corner. So I assume TC Kusu is there. I assume, well, we know Igor's there, but who else is in that? Is Tumisang part of that crew?
No, I don't know. I think Tumisang's full time at UMF. Okay, so they cross train at UMF. Okay, so they do that. They go spar there and they get a bit of wrestling there and stuff. So they're with Demart and Sylvester and Temba Garumba, and I think Soldier Boy helps him out with a bit of wrestling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know
like
the Sloan brothers are there as
yeah,
well.
like I say, we don't really know. I didn't see any bit of wrestling for Zulu in that camp at all. But like again, like I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard for us to say. We don't follow him 24 hours a day, so we don't really know. I just feel like Zulu's one step behind in evolution of his game. He could be so much better if he was evolving. You know what I mean? I think maybe full time at UMF with guys like Demart and Gareth and Sylvester, and like a lot of experience where guys are pushing you, you know what I mean, they're a little bit more motivated and they're pushing you, maybe that would have led to a little bit more evolution, you know what I mean, because this kid's been watching him and he's figured out how to beat him, and he's had that, because he said it to me, he's like, Zulu hasn't changed in years, he's been fighting the same way for years, so you know, and he wasn't wrong, evidently, because he had figured it out. And I promise you, he's basically just mapped it out now. Because you think in a rematch, anything changes. Unless Zulu changes his entire fighting style drastically. That's the only way I see that changing. I don't see that, otherwise I don't see that result changing.
Yeah, it's so difficult to say.
Look, do we have guys that can beat Jake Hadley? 100%. There's a couple of guys I think that would definitely give him a hard time. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the flyweight division, I think like BK would absolutely fucking mollywop him. But to be honest, I think he would just wrestle his face.
BK's a little bit gone now.
He said on the show, so he's gone. Well, he hasn't said where he's going. He said he's done with the EFC. They've parted ways. # no money problems.
Which is crazy, because BK would have definitely.
No, he'd absolutely.
He's like the worst style.
Him.
He's the worst style for someone like Jake.
But again, that's a fight.
But outside of BK, who do you think's got a good chance of? Who do you? Because like, let's say you put Zulu Boy on the back burner for one fight. Let Jake fight someone else before you do a rematch.
I'll throw. There's also a guy who we don't really know I don't really know what his status is Danshil Moodley, bro. I think Danshil Moodley's.
Didn't he part ways with the EFC as well?
I think he has, but he's at Brave,
Yeah.
but I don't know if he's permanently there.
Yeah, but I think he let his contract expire. I think that it was like from what I understand, I might be completely wrong. I think he envisioned that he was going to be on that Brave card, even though he got called up the day before the fight.
Yeah.
He had pants made, he had a banner made. He had envisioned that he was going to be on that card, and he was prepping for this. So I think he. You're
saying he's using voodoo, bro?
Better than PEDs. I think he let his EFC contract expire, and then he kind of made himself open to go international, you know. And it was a wise move, because he was coming off big wins. You know, he had a win streak going.
But was it wise? Because he'd be fighting for a title now, surely.
For what though? I mean, as an athlete, you want to.
$500, bro. What are you talking about?
Those media passes for EFC 79 have just been revoked. Yeah, so I mean, I think it was a good move, because you know, if he's going to progress, he got a big increase financially going into Brave.
But the thing is, for me, is all of these guys that signed for Brave, where are we now? We're April, basically May. None of them have fucking fought again, bro.
But I said that when they all signed.
But so did I. But he wasn't part of the original crew that signed when they came down.
That guy got properly honeydicked, though. That guy got properly honeydicked. Steven Gonzalez, his medical
He was
bills,
basically Russian bait, is what he was.
He went up against some
He was like Chum.
Like Russian superstar, and just got absolute. I mean, I want these guys to win. It doesn't matter if I like you, if I dislike you. If you go fight overseas, there's a part of me that wants you to win, you know.
Absolutely.
And I'll support anyone that goes overseas. So you want him to win, but he got absolutely manhandled in that
Bro,
fight.
like a guy like Steven Gonzalez is not equipped for that sort of fight style. That's the reality of it, bro. Nah, okay, Stitch is in the shot now, eh? Cool, bro. You just make yourself comfortable.
I think it's a great little mascot to have for this fight.
Yeah. He's just chilling hard, bro. So, you know, like for a guy like Steven Gonzalez, it's just a fucking dirty matchup for him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like some guys
But
are
I
just,
mean-
you know what I mean? Like he's got like a bit of, he's got quite a sneaky submission game, fairly decent stand up.
Let's be honest, Brave is known for that though, right?
Yeah.
They took Chad over there, and while Chad got the split decision, they gave him the toughest Russian in the division to fight, you know, like
Yeah.
second fight in the organization, right? Or it was the first fight in the organization?
First, yeah, his first
fight in the organization.
Islam, I think.
You give then the JP goes over and he got the win, but also you give him undefeated Dagestani
Gamzat.
prospect, one of your own people from your KHK fight team.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
how it works. Though,
Right? They put Steven over there, give him the toughest fight ever. They signed Dimitri Fogg on, who's coming from amateur to pro to fight someone with a heavy Muay Thai background and a long pro record.
Oh, but Dimitri's a goat, bro. No, I'm just
So I mean, it's like these guys, they don't give a shit about the African fighters, you know. They're taking them there and they're just feeding them to the wolves. So you have to kind of
Look, you mentioned Dimitri Fogg, and I'm just messing around if Dimitri by chance listens to this. The thing is that pissed me off about that is that was the ultimate honey dick for me. Because you've last minute run out of fighters to fill up your card. You're getting bad advice from someone saying, hey bro, go pro now.
And I think that's
You know what
key
I
to
mean?
mention. It
You
was
know what I
bad
mean? Go
advice
pro
from a
now.
local person to that organization.
Exactly. And you're like, go pro now, this is your time. And you've honey dicked this dude into taking a fucking near death match. You know what I'm saying?
And the next fight's not
who's
gonna be easier.
who's realistically struggling on the amateur circuit here, you know what I mean? Who's just been knocked out 30 days before. I mean, it's dangerous for one. Like that really pissed me off. You know what I mean? Like, and respect to Dimitri, he'll always say, I'm a fighter, bro, I'll take any opportunity that comes my way. I get it. I do get it. But when you're getting shit advice like that and you're being told now's the time to turn pro, you've got to realize, look, you're a last minute with the promise of maybe getting a contract with Brave. So you've maybe just fucked up your chances here locally. You know what I mean? So what are you doing now? What is he doing now, bro?
Yeah.
He's sitting, he can't go back to amateur and try work his way back up. He's hoping that Brave is maybe going to give him a fight, which in my opinion is never going to fucking happen. Along with a whole pile of these dudes that were sucked into that whole scenario,
Well, not to
waiting for
mention-
Brave to call.
Not to mention two guys who fought for nothing on that card.
Yeah.
Who were potential
Exactly.
pro
It's a-
prospects. They should have paid Francois Meyer and Pixsteel for that fight. That was a great fight to make.
But you know what
Both
upset
of
me
them
about
should have
that,
deserved to go pro.
and I had my say on social media about it. What upset me the most is they never promoted that as an
Bro,
amateur
you're a
fight.
UFC teabagger.
They never even promoted it as an amateur fight. It was the same marketing as the rest of the pro card. They never once said, "Oh, we're going to do this development amateur fights, and these fights are going to get exposure, and whoever wins might get a contract or whatever." It was basically like, they're just part of our thing. We don't have to pay them, and that's it. I think that's number one bullshit. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
That-
both of those guys have been amateurs for how long? Both of them were riding good win streaks. Both of them deserve to go pro at some, like, near that point anyway.
Yeah.
Just pay the guys. Pay both of those guys,
Yeah.
even if you give them one fight contract, pay them a decent amount of money. There was a great fight to start the
Yeah.
card.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree completely.
Yeah, dude. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know if Brave's coming back or what the deal is. I've
Oh,
kind of
they're
just like
definitely not coming back.
it left
anytime
such
soon.
a
They had like
bitter
10
taste.
people in
yeah.
the crowd.
It left such a bitter taste in my mouth, man. It was such a fuck up. Because you know, like even for me, like I spent so much time, and I was quite like keen on the whole Brave idea. You know what I mean? Not for them to come here. Like I quite liked what they were doing. I quite dig the setup, the way they're promoting the fights, and you know that sort of thing. And then they were like, "Yeah, we're coming to South Africa." I was like, "Oh, that's going to be really cool. Be interesting to see how another promotion does here." And then it was just became animosity, and then it was just fucking disaster. It was
Well, you
just
don't
like,
think
oh,
that
come
a
on,
lot
bro.
of that animosity was rooted from maybe South Africa side, you know?
No,
Certain
it-
individuals.
Be more specific.
It
bro.
was 100%. It was 100%, right? The person that was organizing it locally wanted to stick it to the EFC. So instead of the fans getting an opportunity to watch Brave and the EFC, the biggest card that EFC had put on for the year, and get to watch Brave, they decided to stick it to the EFC, and Brave failed out of that, right? Because you know what? South Africans are loyal, and plus EFC was in Pretoria. They went to Sun City, which if anyone's been to an EFC at Sun City, you know people don't go to those events,
But
right?
good, because like the thing is also, if you go into Sun City, Sun City's like a sacred ground. Like you want to see Mike Tyson fight in Sun City. You know what I'm saying? So you got to put on the card. And B, at that time of the year especially, people are either at work, winding down to close work. And bro, to stay at Sun City is fucking expensive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
like
who are you
like
appealing
at
to?
least
You know
$2
what I mean?
grand a
Imagine
night.
they put that event 1 week before EFC in a more local arena.
Put it at the Dome.
At the
You would've
Dome.
packed
The
that
Dome.
place out.
100%.
There were fights on that card that I was dying to see, but because of where they were situated.
Bro,
and the
listen.
fact that I worked
If
there.
they had sorted this stuff out from Pakistan with Chad, and Chad headlined the card for a title fight, like what was looking like it was going to happen.
Well, that's what the promo said.
Well,
Exactly.
you had Mark Hume on that card. That's a name in itself that would have drawn a huge crowd here in Germany.
Bro, so if you had that at the Dome, hey, you would have looked at EFC. You would have been, like EFC would have been like your side piece. You'd be like, well,
Well, the thing is,
things are happening now. You know what I'm saying? But they just, like Warren's saying, they were just completely like, the local organization was kind of just like, you know what, I'm going to fucking stick it to the EFC and I'm going to show them. And that was a complete wrong approach because it just backfired.
But if you're going to go to Sun City, so I retract my statement that no one goes to Sun City events, right? People do go to Sun City events, but you want people that have a following locally. You can't put a card of international fighters at Sun City and expect people to drive out 2 hours to Sun City to go and watch the event.
Yeah.
You know? EFC does well when they put a lot of Congolese fighters on those cards because the Congolese fans support those guys and they come out in 10s and 20s per fighter, you know? And then the event gets bigger and they kind of line it up with another event that's happening at Sun City. So there's random crowds that will be drawn into the event. Brave chose the weekend that they chose because they wanted to show the EFC that they were more powerful than them, right? And then they went to a place that they thought that this is the sacred ground of combat sports, live combat sports in South Africa. We're going to go there. And it was just an absolute clusterfuck of everything just not... That main event, when you saw there was like 5 people in the crowd behind that one camera, I was like, that sums up the entire experience of Brave coming to South Africa. It was just an endless nightmare of things going wrong. I mean, 5 stars were meant to happen the night before. They didn't even have a cage set up the night before the main this event.
We had guys getting ready for that card. You remember they had to wait in different times. Now they'd cut weights. The cage wasn't there. They were told they were fighting late at night, then the next morning. That's a big stuff up.
Massive. It's once again, it's egos getting in the way of something that could have been great.
Yeah.
And it landed up being dead shit because people wanted to stick it to the other organization, and I think it was just sad in the end.
Speaking of the other organization, let's get away from.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on JP versus Lutando yet.
Yeah, JP.
Besides the Mark saga.
JP looked fucking impressive. He needs to go to the UFC. The time is here now.
So the crazy thing is, like, you look at.
Oh,
I know the Brave thing's off the card.
Yeah, that's long gone.
So you look at Lutando, and I honestly believe Lutando is the best bantamweight, barring JP. Right? I'm in that division. I can completely
Are you calling him out, bro? Sure, I didn't know what you said.
When we see a super fight between him and Jake Caddy, can he still make flyweight?
I don't know. He fights at feather.
He could. I think he could.
He made it against PK.
No, that
was
was
at
at bantamweight. Yeah, they fought at bantamweight.
Come on, young Jamie. So Lutando is a great fighter, highly skilled. But then when he comes up against JP, you can just see that there's such a massive divide between JP and the rest of the division. So Faiz is getting this next shot. Supposedly called the shot at the press conference, and then Graham was super excited about it. So let's say that's the next fight, right? I don't think Faiz gets through Lutando, let alone get through JP.
Yeah, that's going to be an absolute fucking molly-whopping, bro. That's my opinion. Look, like, with guys like Faiz, who's wild and unpredictable, anything can happen. But yeah, dude, I think that, I think stylistically that's a horrible matchup for him, Lutando or JP. Yeah. And B, if it's JP, I think it's quite a step down in opponent, with all due respect. You know what I mean? Like, JP's gone from like being the youngest ever champion to picking up a belt in a higher division, to going to fighting the Ultimate Fighter, to fighting in Brave, to fighting Lutando Biko, to fighting Faiz Jacobs. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit hectic. I mean, if you're JP and you're looking at your career and you're looking at Faiz Jacobs, you're going to be a bit hesitant. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're definitely going to be a bit hesitant.
The only way I see it happening is either they throw a lot of money at it, which historically hasn't been a situation, right? Or alternatively, Faiz and Lutando should fight, to re-establish contendership
Yeah.
and bring an international that's kind of on the UFC radar, bring that person to South Africa, because you know JP's on the radar.
Yeah.
You bring that person and let them have a go at it and make it like this massive fight, you know?
Yeah.
But
And a Jake Caddy versus JP? Not
that
gonna happen.
I think
Without
Jake's
the-
too small for that.
without
That
the
step
money,
up.
I don't see that making any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, I'll fight Rourke for 500,000 rand, you know, and we
What
family,
about
you know.
what about Zulu Boy changing weight divisions and fighting JP?
I think that'll be a great fight. I think that'll be nice.
He's fought at Bantam before.
Yeah,
The champ at Bantam.
it's not like you're fighting the biggest guy in the bantamweight division. You know, JP's fought at flyweight.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a guy that fights at featherweight and cuts down to bantamweight.
Look, I
every now and
think
again.
between the flyweight and the bantamweight division, EFC are going to scratch their heads a little bit and think about what the best route is. I don't mind the immediate rematch between Zulu and Jake, based purely on the fact that Zulu was the champ for so long. I think he deserves it.
It makes
Whether
sense.
he wins it again, I don't see it changing anything, but he deserves it. With JP, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think Faiz should fight Lutando Biko, and I think they should find an international opponent for JP.
Yeah, like they've just done for Igor. They've
For
found
Igor,
this 8-0 Croatian,
Yeah.
get him to come in.
I think that's the answer.
Yeah.
That one's for free, Graham.
You get your media passes again.
Like Thanos, boy. Yeah, so EFC 79, obviously I came under quite a bit of heat at a point, talking about the diabolicalness of this card. And you know, like,
Diabolicalness.
I don't wanna like disrespect the athletes and stuff like that, and that's not what I'm trying to do. You know, and the point I'm trying to make, and I try to get it across, was EFC is supposed to be the premier destination for MMA on the African continent.
100%.
They're doing all this work, signing Supersport, SABC. Don't forget TV Zimba. It's going all over Europe, Cameroon, Fight Sports. There was the Zone in for a little bit. You know, like
Are they not with the zone anymore? I think they
I
are.
don't-
Because
I
the
don't
78 highlights were from the zone.
yeah, you're right.
Except the only part they didn't highlight was the Zulu Hadley fight.
Yeah.
They just skipped it completely. It was just Hadley getting awarded the victory, and then everyone else had decent highlights.
You know, so doing all of this work and getting all of these eyes on the EFC, and then, you know, like if, let's say, for example, someone tunes in to this fight. Okay, we've just found out now that, if you don't know, the Bruno Makulu fight is off. But let's say that someone tunes in for the first time and watches Bruno Makulu versus some guy that we've never seen.
Who hasn't fought since 2012.
Yeah, and it gets called off for fucking stagnating or something. You know what I mean? Like, this is my problem with the card. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, they moved the Hlongwa fight into the prelims because Madiba came in for the Brazilian fella who's coming up.
Which is actually one fight I'm really looking
That's probably the fight I'm the most excited about, if
Yeah.
I'm honest with you. You know what I mean? Like, all due respect to everyone else, like, the thing is for me, like, Igor Kibesa, massive talent. We're probably, to this day, one of the biggest talents we have in MMA in South Africa. But again, fighting a guy we've never seen, like, Igor's style is you know, like, if you watch Igor fight Calamari, like, okay, bro, cool. Like, I get it, you're respectful of the guy's skills, but if you want to really lay yourself out for international market, you need to absolutely starch this dude, because then you become a highlight reel. I mean, you've got one with Silva, you know, that spinning back elbow. Now, like, okay,
That was
now we're
epic.
watching you.
That was epic.
Yeah.
He's got a win over Danny as well.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Danny Henry, and then you go and fight Calamari, and it's like you just don't want to engage. You know what I mean? Like you're like too scared to, because of the jiu-jitsu. Well, then knock him the fuck out, because if you're this great fighter, you know what I mean? So, like, I feel like he lost a lot of accreditation there. You know, everyone was like, okay.
Yeah.
So, like, that fight style, if that's the Igor that shows up on fight night, bro, people are going to fall asleep, unfortunately. That's the way it is. Then you got Temba Garimbo, who's been retired, who's all of a sudden not retired. You know what I mean? Like, I think he lost his last fight. He's on a losing streak. He's thrown to this Grand Prix, which is awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jose De Rasha, who's hot and cold at best, massive prospect. The dude's obviously got talent, but I mean, it's not like a. Let me put it to you this way. I'm going to watch it. You're going to watch it.
Definitely.
You're going to watch it. Some dude sitting on his couch, flicking through the TV, not going to watch it, because he's going to look at this card and go, bro, I don't know who these people are. You understand what I'm saying? Like, who's highlight? Okay, Iga Cabeza, maybe I've heard his name before. But, you know, if you're a casual fan who's kind of dipping your toes now in this new Supersport era, you're going to look at this card and be like, I don't know. Like, where are the people that I know? You understand what I'm saying? Where are the names?
Yeah.
That's the issue I have with it. Like, for the everyday, like, hardcore fan, like, we know what's going on. For the guys who are not so in tune, and that's how MMA is. A lot of support from MMA is casual fans.
Yeah.
They're looking at this card and they're like, and like, it was like Cyrus Fees was saying to me on Instagram, these cards have the potential to have the best nights. And I'm like, cool, I get that. I hear you.
Yeah,
and maybe you will get great fights. 100%. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. I've looked at the card and like, yes, this card's a bit weak. And the best fights come out because the guys are galvanized. But what is it doing? What is it doing for the sport in the new era? You know what I mean? Like, what is happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in this new era with all these new eyeballs, and this is the card we put on for display. To me, that's just the wrong way to go about it. You know what I'm saying? Had some of those fights been the prelims to make up a prelim card, and there was a couple of bigger fights in, this card was supposed to have Cheyenne Flismus versus Wojcik on it. You know what I'm saying? If you had that fight in, if you had the Tumisang Madiba fight in a little bit earlier against a nice Brazilian prospect, now you're starting to look like a serious card. With if they had, okay, I don't know what the situation with Conrad Siabi is. If they had put Conrad Siabi and Luke Michael back onto this card, now we're starting to look at a serious card.
I think that was the initial request, was that they were going to do this.
So there's options there, man. It's not like there weren't options, you know what I'm saying?
It would have been great, because you would have had round one of the Grand Prix on one card.
Exactly.
I think it came down to Conrad's ability to fight from concussion. Because remember,
his doctor said 3 days, bro.
That doctor's
note
said 3 days, but you know that bare minimum of 30 days for any concussion. A lot of it's like you can only go back to training, full contact to the head. Like, it didn't make sense to get 3 days off for a concussion. But yeah, I agree with you. I just think there's not a lot of stars on this card, you know.
And again, you go into the prelims, like, and there's a lot of no-namers, like a lot of new guys just arriving, just getting signed up. You know what I mean? Like, and cool, I get it. That has to happen.
How many debutants have we got? We've got Stradom, and has Majuba fought before?
No, I think he's the dude from Soweto, the kickboxing club.
Oh, okay, yeah. And Tommy Stradom's from LFS. Yamji.
Yeah, whenever you need a last-minute heavyweight, Nico Yamji's your guy.
1-6, bro. I mean.
Yeah. Well, that tells a story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like, I don't think the Oaks ever had it. And so someone sent me a message, okay? And I think, like, this is the problem with this fight card. It was left too late. There's obviously financial issues between the EFC and paying the fighters. There's a lot of fighters that are not happy. A lot of negotiations are failing because of that. And I think this card lost a lot of fights because of that. And also because it's left. I mean, like, even if you look at the next card, we're going to EFC 80. We don't even have a headliner. At least have a headliner. Okay, look, I know they're probably going to announce it at the press conference at the end of this one. That's what they did the last time.
Yeah.
So Iga Cabeza was only announced at the next one, which gives you 4 to 3 weeks. So do these guys know beforehand that they're going to get the fight?
Yeah.
Are they training? Because if you look at it this way, if you give a guy 3-4 weeks notice, okay, and then he's got to go perform on the highest level, it's not going to happen because he hasn't prepared. You understand what I'm saying? So everybody's getting a lower caliber of fight. And these guys are not getting to show their full potential because they're not getting that time to study their opponent, to train, to get their fitness levels up, to all of that to happen. So it's not just it's not a knock on the EFC either. And it's not an attack on the EFC. There's obviously something going on there. I don't know if it's a matchmaking problem, trying to get people to commit to fights, if it's a financial problem, what sort of problem it is. But the fights have to be laid out earlier, in my opinion. Because, I mean, look, do you think Daniel Cormier is going to take a fight on 3 weeks' notice? Not a fucking chance, bro. Not a chance. He's going to want to get his camp in and do the due diligence. Yeah. And that's what fighting. You have to understand what these guys are doing. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? It's the highest risk sport in the world, and they have to be prepared for it. If you just 1 week, I mean, look at the Brazilian record for coming over here on late notice. They get fucking mollywopped, bro. Look at how Jose De Roshi's first fight, Dricus Du Plessis on Tuesday. It's cool, bro. Take some altitude, take Dricus, just get in there and get it done. Obviously, you're going to get sparked, but that's just how it is. 100%. You know what I mean? Like, and for us to get, as fans, and for the sport to get the highest caliber of fights, these fights have to be set earlier, for one, okay? And we have to put the best available options on that card. Otherwise, we're not doing the sport a justice. You understand what I'm saying? We're showing the EFC And EFC is a massively awesome organization. It's a fucking exciting organization. But there's something weird going on there with a card like that. Because you're saying to the world, this is the best athletes we have to fight on this card at the moment. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think it was left late. That's literally what it comes down to. You know, there's some of these fights on this card that, with the right marketing, you could probably convince people that it's a good fight. You know, like this Madiba versus this Brazilian. This Brazilian's like 14-4, fights out of the Pitbull gym. Has a decent win ratio. Madiba is a very popular local fighter. Had you been able to secure this a little bit earlier, and you put some marketing, maybe with the promo, you had the promo of Cabeza, and you had the promo of Madiba, and the promo of Garumba versus Darasha, you can kind of start getting people sold on the idea, you know, and then you're only 2 fights away from selling it on the main card, you know, and the main card's the most important because that's what everyone's tuning in for, right?
Sure.
Then you could relegate some of these other fights to the undercard, and then we're back in action. But once again, you only found out about the Brazilian yesterday or the day before, which could have been well marketed. Bruno Makulu pitches up on the main card out of nowhere. It's just
and
weird.
gone the next day.
It's just weird. Yeah, and gone the very next day. It's just peculiar.
Yeah, it is, man. Look, and it's not to say you're not going to see great fights. That's not what I'm saying. You probably will see great fights. Hopefully we do get to see great fights. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's not going to be great fights. I'm just saying in terms of putting the best card out there every time for our market, the sport, and an international market, that I'm afraid for me is just a miss. And I think that's a consensus. You're not fooling anybody. A lot of the fans are looking at this card and be like, man, this is... And the casual fans are saying that that's a weak card because they've got nothing and nobody to relate to.
Yeah.
Cabeza, unfortunately, is very inactive social media. He doesn't do media obligations. He stood me up 4 times in my fucking old studio. You know what I mean? Like, that's just who he is. So he's nobody, like, the only bit we get to see is whatever EFC puts out.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have a massive fan following, and that's the reality. You understand what I'm saying? Against a guy that's never fought you. And that's headlining your fight. So from a marketing and fans perspective, like, what are we getting invested in here? We're not. You know what I'm saying? There's no investment for the fans. But anyway, man, I'm sure we will see great fights. And you know, Igor Cabeza, like we say, is probably the biggest talent we have in the organization at the moment. Yeah. So we want to see him succeed. We want to see him going into an international market. If he has the means to get there, and I think he can. He really, really, really can. Yeah. So, you know, that's the biggest thing for me on that card is to see. And look, they found a guy who's 8-0, who's a prospect. Cool. Come and deal with the altitude.
How
and
hilarious
all of that.
is that video though, where this oak starches the oak in 5 seconds. Then the oak the guy starts.
Did you see the one that had writing pop up?
The guy starts grappling the ref because he doesn't know what's happening, and the ref puts him to sleep again with the guillotine against the cage.
And I'm pretty sure that ref was smiling the whole time.
He was so pumped.
Bro,
did
you see? Yeah,
chest out, boom.
But did you see, like, as he let go of the guillotine, he just like walks away. He like, doesn't even like check the oak's okay. Just like, yeah, I'm out of here. Ciao, bro. Classic.
So let's put the marketing behind us, and let's just say this is what we dealt with. Are there any fights you're actually looking forward to on this card? Because I think there are a couple of interesting fights here.
I'm massively excited to see Temba Garumba, what he's going to bring after all that time
that's
off.
A very exciting fight.
I'm massively excited to see, because Jose Darasha is a guy with his back against the wall. You know, he's got another chance to get into title contention here, which is going to be his 3rd, I think. Yeah, Drickus, was it for the title or was it
Drickus was for the title?
So, and then he fought Gunther Kaluna for the title, and now he's fighting Grand Prix to get back to the title again.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, firstly, how many chances can you give a guy? Anyway.
Did he knock out Cam Pritchard before or after his fight with Kaluna?
Before. I think wasn't that the one that got him the title shot?
Yeah.
Isn't this his first fight post Gunther?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a cool matchup. Realistically, it's a cool matchup.
Yeah.
Temba Garumba versus Jose Darasha is
but
a
now
very cool matchup.
we're talking as hardcore MMA fans,
Yeah.
and people that train MMA every day and so forth, or martial arts every day. So yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm looking forward to the Cabeza fight actually.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Garumba fight. I'm most excited about Madiba versus this
Bro,
Brazilian.
and that's what I was going to say. Wherever Tumisang Madiba is, take my money, bro.
Yeah.
I love to watch that dude fight because
Yeah.
he's kind of, it's all or nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I sometimes wish he would be a little bit more cautious because I think he's a massive talent, man. But he's just, that's his style and that's what makes him him. And I think, you know, he's also, I see he's at UMF a lot, and so he's under the guidance of good guys who are going to keep him grounded and, you know, getting him to like new looks, get him a bit of wrestling, get him a bit of like different things going, which I think is really, really cool. So, you know, so like, I'm really excited to see Tumisang and how far he's come, bro. So that's always cool. So if he's on the card, you automatically massively excited. And he has a massive following. So the fans love him. So that's a massive tick in the good box. Is Tumi Madiba. They did well to get him on their card last minute. You know what I mean? Because that's really gonna give the card a bit of spark and a bit of life.
Yeah. And we've all been saved from the Mukulu Sousa fight that's been dropped. Kanyeba Coxon. So do you think?
Look, Kanyeba Coxon, like at the peak of the prelims. Firstly, I don't know what weight class, where are they meeting, bro?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wherever it is, unless it's calling for a title shot afterwards.
But I'm saying P.D. Coxon fought his last fight at middleweight. Am I right? I'm pretty sure. And Anis Kanyeba fought his last fight at lightweight.
But hasn't PT also fought at lightweight before? Or Walt? Yeah.
Okay, bro. So wherever they're fighting.
He fought most of his career at welterweight.
Okay.
Who?
PT.
At welterweight. So is he cutting, or I'm guessing Aniset's going up to welterweight, and
Probably.
he's a small lightweight.
Yeah, it's being contended at 170 pounds welterweight.
Yeah.
Look, as a prelim fight, I'm all up in that. I think they're two very different weight classes. I don't know how that works, but anyway.
Look, that could be a good fight.
Yeah, because I think Aniset is scared of nothing. You know what I mean?
The PT that fought Conrad, that was a good fight. You know, that was a great fight to watch. I assume Longa and Pretorius are going to go back onto the main card because they were on the main card. They got relegated when they announced the Mukulu Sousa fight and the Madiba Exon fight. I'm not actually 100% sure about that fight. I'm not sure if it's going to be great or if it's going to be cuck or what the situation is. But I'm interested in the Rocky Lunga versus Ngwala.
Do you want to see if Ngwala is going to get his face smashed in again, or what are you interested in?
No, well, I'm just interested. You know, like those guys.
Look,
physically,
Rocky's an
you don't want to be hit by either of them.
Yeah, that's at lightweight.
I'm just glad that Elvis is back in the weight class where he belongs.
Listen, I heard that Rocky fought at featherweight at one stage, and then I walked into training the one day and I look at Rocky, I'm like, fuck, this oak.
Yeah, and they don't call him Rocky because he likes the boxer, hey?
Yeah. He's literally chiseled out of stone. This oak's massive, right? I was contemplating moving up to featherweight, and I saw this oak, I was like, fucking not a chance, China. He looks at you across the mat, you want a spot? No.
Yeah, man, so just wrapping that up in EFC 79, I think it's, you know what, it's not
horrible for people that are invested in it.
Yeah, it's not.
TC Kusu versus Billy Oosthuizen. Could be okay.
Stylistically, that's interesting because TC Kusu is that guy who likes to play that outside sort of game. You know what I mean? Like he's like
touch,
break and Billy Oosthuizen is that guy who comes in right hand, like the guy who's stuck on X when you're playing Mortal Kombat. You know what I'm saying? So
the button masher. Yeah. That's not fucking beating me. Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah. The last thing
I hope TC Kusu takes that. Obviously.
The last thing I just want to touch on before we end this is. Finally, a date for Soldier Boy Lazar.
We're not going to touch on TF2 tonight.
No. It's only happening. It's happening now as we're recording. It's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, it's 7:00.
If they play
so by the time people are hearing this, tonight. It would have happened.
So maybe we should just tell them about it at least.
What are we going to tell them after they've already seen it?
No, because it's the same night. It's the same time every week, so you can watch
Friday,
the fight at 2.
Friday 7:00.
No.
8 o'clock on SuperSport. 9 o'clock on SuperSport.
SuperSport 11 for Sub-Saharan Africa. Saturday 8 o'clock SABC 3. And then
you can
TV
download
Zimbo?
it on Pirate Bay on Monday. What?
Fight Sports TV, Iconic Sports TV. It's live. It's being broadcast.
What time is it on TV Zimbo?
They actually did say
it will be on there. No, it will be.
There are some great fights on that show.
Yeah.
and there are some terrible.
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
a little rumor that card is at the actual Performance Institute.
Rumor has it. I also heard a similar sort of rumor, but we'll wait to see.
Is
But
that
yeah,
the card
listen,
for the finals for TFT?
Lazar versus Soldier Boy
Soldier Boy.
at the
I mean, it
performance.
all went down there.
Hashtag you heard it from Warren King first. But listen, TF2, we for guys who were following online, we got to go and see some of the fights. Oh, man,
No, it's great, eh?
it's
Seriously.
that show is going to be so wicked. By the time you hear this, you would have watched the first episode. It gets more and more and more intense. The fighters of serious high quality. Those ladies brought it.
That was impressive. That was
you can go onto the YouTube page and check some of the interviews I did. Super cool bunch of ladies, massively talented. Some crazy fights. Obviously,
some of them came in with heat against each other
Yeah.
before they even landed in South
Exactly.
Africa. So I mean,
a lot of drama, everything you expect from one of those shows.
Yeah.
In the
Some
film,
controversy with some of those decisions as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
filmed in the Performance Institute, which is the first of its kind ever to happen in this country.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely stay tuned. We'll definitely, as we do the shows, touch in on what's happened and what's going on, even though we know what's really happened. But anyway, it's still. I'm still
think
gonna
everyone
watch.
knows what
Yeah,
happened. It
I'm
was
still.
like-
You're still gonna watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I promise you. Listen, you hear it from Big L. You make sure you watch that show. That
Yeah.
show is gonna be legit. You know what I mean?
So on a side
Be
note,
very cool.
the producer Milton Shaw, he does all the countdown shows.
Yeah.
Have you watched the latest
Yeah.
countdown show? How fucking good is that
Yeah.
countdown show?
He's
that
legit.
whole like talk up at the beginning about Igorli, the place of gold, Africa's richest, whatever. Also Africa's some poverty and well, I thought it was epic.
Yeah,
I
he's
thought it
a
was
genius.
really good.
Shout
That
out
was
to
really,
Milton.
really good.
Those video guys at EFC are taking things to
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah, that's Milton, bro. He's a beast. Milton's
Yeah.
an absolute beast.
Shout
Love
out
that shit.
Theo. Theo.
Who's Theo, bro? Yeah, no, Theo.
Shot, bro.
Yeah, Theo's also the beast. And there's a cool photographer there as well. His name is Anton Geyser. He's
Yeah.
the only
Yeah.
good photographer they have.
Definitely. The OG.
What a dick.
Cool, guys. As always, you got any questions, any
Do we
topics?
get no questions for this one?
There was one.
Ah,
Oh, yeah,
one.
yeah. There-
Our one viewer.
I
Actually forgot
I will
to.
go and read
Sachin
it out.
Ganja.
It was on,
This is the legitest question. This is the legit question. I remember
one.
this question from
So
anonymous.
There were more questions.
No, this is the question from anonymous.
It can't be anonymous. It's
No, it's from
It's
anonymous.
from @anonymous. Okay, I've got no signal, but happened to
It
know
says,
the
I remember the question quite clearly. I think it was, will we ever see a super fight between Warren King and Trezeguet?
Trezeguet,
Yeah.
Kanyeba,
Kanyinda.
Kanyinda.
Get his name right. Tupac.
Yeah, bro.
Tupac.
bro.
Yes,
How
I was at the Performance
disrespectful.
Institute and
Okay, listen, bro, just answer the question.
From Anonymous.
Yeah, from anonymous.
I don't mind doing that. I really don't mind doing that.
Oh, there you go. Trezeguet just
Don't
called
be
you
a
out.
bitch.
So,
Can you say it in French?
He'll fight
Yes,
you
sir.
and Jason Van der Merwe at the same time.
so was that legitimately the only question?
Okay, I might have asked.
I thought you were actually talking shit.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
That was my Biogen.
That was the cat?
the Biogen bottle. Now my floor is going to test positive. Anyways, guys, this is heading south quickly.
No more questions.
No.
That's my only job.
I forgot to check the questions.
Check the questions. Check the questions.
Just quickly check the questions. Let's just
we
wrap it
can
up
fix it
properly.
in post.
It's fine. Don't worry about the questions. We'll
Okay,
move
I'll
on.
ask some questions.
They were not important. Okay, ask a question. You've got 1 minute.
Oh, now I'm on the spot.
Just go to the Instagram account and check what the question was.
That's his Instagram account.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
it's empty.
That's what's happening.
It's. I think I've run out of data.
Let's do that. Send us some questions for the next show. And we'll definitely remember to get them in.
Al had one job.
Or
He had
even,
one job.
even better, we'll try and go live very
Actually,
soon.
Rourke
You
had
can-
one job. And
No, that was my bad, sorry.
I don't get to run that account. Unfortunately.
Thank God.
next week.
Okay.
Wait.
Rourke didn't get the call up to the EFC next week, so.
Hit me up, guys. I'm ready to shoot. Not really.
Yeah.
What is the
Hashtag
question?
brave.
I'm trying to find questions.
Okay, no, it's fine, but let's let it go.
Yeah.
We've
We spent
exhausted
too much
ourselves.
time.
We've exhausted ourselves.
Awesome.
Cool, fantastic. I think
That was fun.
yeah.
Did everyone enjoy listening to Rourke this time? Not
Yeah.
this faint,
Yeah.
ghostly voice in the background.
Yeah, cool. That
Sweet
that
guys.
voice you're hearing in the background is Rourke who's coming through. He's producing
Ladies
the show.
age 20 to 30. Hit 'em up.
Wow.
Cool, guys. Get in touch as always. Hopefully, we're going to try to do one of these live very soon. We're trying to figure out the logistics. We're going to get interesting. Maybe have a few beers and talk a bit of shit. Cool. And that's it.
See you
We're
guys.
out. Ciao.
Cheers. Good job, peeps.